Hey guys, greetings, and welcome back to Holy BatCast, brought to you by Real Fans for Real Movies. As always, you can visit our website, holybatcast.com, and you can also find us all over social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Just search for Holy BatCast and you will find us. We're on Patreon. You can find us at patreon.com/holybatcast, and we're part of the Real Fans Podcast Network. You can find all those shows at rf4rm.com. As always, I'm Andy DiGenova. You can follow me on Twitter or on Instagram. It's just my name, Andy DiGenova. Now, this is just a quick little episode because last night I got a chance to see Wonder Woman 1984 on the big screen here in Beijing, China. And so I was hoping someone else who had seen it would be able to join me for this little chat, but that didn't work out, and I didn't want to wait any longer. I wanted to get this out to you before you guys all get to see the movie on Christmas in about a week's time. So I did get to go see it. I wanted to share my non-spoiler reaction and thoughts. Staying completely spoiler-free, it should be safe, but if you don't want any reactions, you want to go in completely cold, I also recommend do that. That's okay. Go in, make up your mind for yourself. I certainly don't want to steer you one way or the other, but for those of you who are interested in hearing what I thought, I am happy to share. So it won't be very long, just a quick little episode while we're all getting excited and hyped to see Wonder Woman 1984 widely. So with all that said, Wonder Woman 1984, it was released last night. I saw it opening night here in China. It was my first time back to a movie theater in almost a year. The last movie I saw in the theater was Sonic the Hedgehog when I was back in the States in February, and I haven't been back since. So, first of all, it was just nice to be back in a movie theater, and it wasn't very busy. And I don't know if that's because it was the movie theater, but yeah, it wasn't very busy. It was pretty easy to get tickets, but it was great to have that experience again. And because Patty Jenkins, she really wants us to see it on the big screen, I was happy to go see it on the big screen. I couldn't find an IMAX screen, so I'm a little disappointed I didn't get to see it in IMAX. But all that said, I saw the movie. As I think we talked about recently, it's 2.5 hours. It certainly doesn't feel like it, but what are my overall thoughts? Spoiler free, I had a great time with Wonder Woman 1984. I did love it. I smiled most of the time. I had a big old smile on my face for most of the movie. It was delightful. It was very interesting because it is undoubtedly a sequel to the first film. There is a lot of connective tissue to the first film. So you watch the first movie, you watch this, they do segue very well from one to the other. So there are a lot of callbacks to the first movie, but because it's set in the 80s as opposed to the first movie, which was set in, was it 1918? World War I, whenever World War I was. It's just a very different vibe, but you've already gotten that from the trailers and from the marketing, is they're really leaning into the 80s vibe for this movie. I will say, I expected them to lean into it even heavier, because I feel like at a certain point in the movie, you're like, yes, it's still in the 80s, but it's not like it's not like a full-on 80s nostalgia trip for the whole movie. Like, they do that, and then they move on, and then you're just watching a movie. But I thought it was a really, really great sequel, and it's a really great standalone movie on its own. I don't think you necessarily need all the info from the original. I mean, you definitely need to know the Diana and Steve relationship because, again, that's not a spoiler. Obviously, that's very important to this film as well because we revisit that because Chris Pine is back. Again, not a shock. So overall, I thought it was delightful. It was an interesting change in tone, but still a really cool, entertaining, exciting, warm, and emotional superhero film. I think the action was terrific. I think Patty Jenkins was, she learned so much from directing the action in the first film that I feel like you definitely see in this film her not necessarily trying to top herself, but trying to do more with it. She just seems so much more comfortable with the action this time around. Not that she wasn't in the first one. I think the action in the first film is amazing too. But I just feel like she just continues to grow as an action filmmaker, I guess is my point. Because the action sequences in this are really fantastic. And there's quite a few of them. They do not skimp on the Wonder Woman action, and I am grateful for that. So the direction is very sure-handed. I think it's really amazing from the very beginning. Like, it starts action-packed. There is certainly a sequence in the center where we take a break from the action, because guess what? Movies have to do that for the story and characters and everything. Gal Gadot continues to be a movie star. The camera just loves her. And I love how she looks in this movie. Like, I love how colorful and bright the Wonder Woman outfit is in this film. It just looks so good. And it also just really fits with the hyper-colored palette of the 80s. So I think that works really well for it as well. They have so much fun with her powers, with the lasso. So like, you get a lot of great Wonder Woman action stuff in here. The story, I think, is really strong. I think thematically, it's very strong. I do have a little, I have a little nits to pick on some of the plot points. Not that they're bad or don't make sense, but I think that some of the plot points sort of just, you just kind of have to go with them, I guess, is what I'll say, because we'll talk about it once everybody gets a chance to see it and there's spoilers. So I think, as far as the plot goes, I have a couple nits to pick. I don't think they're bad, but I do think that maybe they're a little squishy. And so not quite, the story isn't quite as tight, I think, as the first film. But it's also more ambitious. There's more going on in this movie, because you've got Diana, you've got Steve, you of course have Barbara Minerva. Kristen Wiig is terrific in the film. Her evolution throughout the film is really well done. From where she starts to where she ends, like, her arc is really great, and her performance is really great. Because she's so unassuming when you meet her, and by the end she's straight up scary and diabolical and evil, and Kristen Wiig pulls that off really well. She plays Barbara Minerva very relatable at the beginning, but never cartoony. She never goes too far with that. And then the evolution is very gradual, but it works that way because you really see it every step of the way. Steve Trevor, Chris Pine is of course great. He and Gal Gadot continue to have really strong chemistry. Gal Gadot is lovable as always, and you really see where what she goes through in this film. But she's just such a great hero, and she's really terrific in this. Again, you just see the evolution of her and Patty's working relationship, and just how comfortable they are working together now, especially in this film. I think that really comes off in the final product. And then Pedro Pascal, I guess, is the other big newcomer that's worth mentioning as Maxwell Lord. He is very important to the film, incredibly important. And so he gives a great performance. He's Pedro Pascal. Of course he does. It's interesting to see where the Maxwell Lord character goes in this film. It's not where I thought it was going. And it was good. Like, I like that it actually was still somewhat unexpected of how his story plays out and how it affects the lives of everyone around him. It's not exactly what I theorized on this show, however long ago, a year ago, whenever that was. But yeah, it was really interesting. It was really cool. He was great too. And yeah, the story is very big. And I think because the story is so big, because of you have these four principal characters and really how they all intersect and how they all work together. Because of that, I think that there are just a couple narrative shortcuts that were taken to move the story ahead. And those, I think, are my only real complaint with the film is there are a couple of those things where I was like, wait, what? Okay, I guess I can go with that. But it just feels like, oh, that sort of just kind of came up, it was convenient that kind of came up. So there are things like that's why I can't call it, oh, it's absolutely masterpiece, everything about it is perfect. I wouldn't say it was perfect. There are a couple little things like that I think, are not perfect, but the entertainment of the film, the entertainment value, it's just a great superhero film. Wonder Woman continues to just be a terrific superhero in this film. She's so, again, likable and admirable, and she just wants what's best for everyone, and she's got so much love in her heart, and it's really awesome. I think it's worth mentioning the Hans Zimmer score. Hans Zimmer, he comes to work. His score here is terrific. It was released a couple nights before I got to see the movie. And so, yeah, I had it just sitting there looking at me, but I was good. I did not listen. I waited for the movie. And now that I've seen the movie, I can enjoy it. But his score is terrific. Not a shock. it's Hans Zimmer. I mean, yeah, really, this is kind of an all-star thing here because you got Patty Jenkins, just hot off the success of the first Wonder Woman. The cast is terrific. Hans Zimmer really showing up with another amazing superhero score to add to his resume that I cannot wait to listen to over and over again after I kind of wean myself off of Christmas music. That's the problem, is because it's Christmas, I'm still really in Christmas music. But that Wonder Woman score, man, I loved it. It was really awesome. There's certainly surprises along the way. There are things that were not included in the trailers, especially how it all comes together, how it all adds up. So I think they were very good and very selective in what they shared in the marketing. Obviously, they gave away a lot of the big action moments, like in the first film, because that's the sizzle. But they didn't give away the stake. They didn't give away the story, the plot, what happens to really set all these events in motion, and then how it affects all the characters. So the fact that they are able to sell this movie on just the entertainment value, but really preserve a lot of the surprises along the way, I thought was really nice. And I was really grateful for that, because as I watched it, I was like, okay, I didn't see that coming. Okay, that's interesting. So I sort of had pieced together what I thought the story was going to be, and it's not exactly that. I will say it's in the spirit of what I thought, but it's not exactly the way I thought it would play out, which was nice. It's always nice to be surprised by these things. But yeah, I mean, I think Maxwell Lord is terrific in the film, but yeah, I want to see more Cheetah. There was a moment, in the end, the big climactic battle, Diana and Barbara, Wonder Woman and Cheetah, where I was just like, I hope this isn't it for Cheetah, because man, like I'm watching Wonder Woman fight the Cheetah on the big screen. The fight is great. Again, Kristen Wiig is really good as the Cheetah. I'm not surprised, but man, she's awesome. And the final battle is really good. And I'm like, I hope we get to see more of this in the future. Who knows? They don't. Let's just say it could happen, but I mean, then again, they brought Steve Trevor back, so really anything can happen in a comic book movie. But I really loved getting to see Wonder Woman against who I consider her main arch nemesis, the Cheetah, in live action in a film. And so I want more of it. I am greedy, even though it was 2.5 hours. I wanted more. I can't wait for more. I can't wait for this team to make a third film, because I think what you have here is it's a really great sequel, another really great superhero film. It's very much its own thing. Again, Patty Jenkins, you can tell she's doing what she wants to do. And so it was very interesting how, I guess, yeah, this is worth mentioning too, how the film, it doesn't contradict the main DC film's storyline. So it doesn't contradict Batman versus Superman. It does follow on from Wonder Woman. And so it's a way for Patty Jenkins to kind of have her cake and eat it too, is tell the story she wanted to tell, but still without contradicting the overarching continuity. But yeah, I really did love it. I think I'm going to love it even more the next time. I do wish I had seen it in IMAX, because again, some of these action sequences are truly fantastic. Kudos to everyone involved. Some really just great stuff there. Some nice surprises along the way. It's really entertaining. It's dark when it needs to be. It's not afraid to get a little dark and scary. It's a little silly when it wants to be too. And there are a couple moments that are a little silly that I was okay with, but I could see certain people not being. Maybe Jamie Drewley, maybe. But the good news is it never goes too hard into that. There are just a couple, again, moments where you go, oh wow, that's very lighthearted. But for the most part, it doesn't go too far in that, because the movie remains pretty earnest and on the same level. So that's kind of my initial blush reactions to it. However many hours later, not even 12 hours later, I really, really liked it. I loved it. Again, I think, the story, I really want to see it again to help to see if my issues with the stories remain, or if maybe the info is there and I just missed it because I was caught up in all of it the first time. So it's not perfect, but man, it's big, it's entertaining. Its heart it has a strong beating heart in the right place. The cast here is terrific. Patty Jenkins is terrific. The score is terrific. So there's a lot to love about Wonder Woman 1984. And again, I look forward to revisiting it multiple times over the next, month or so, going to try and go back to the theater. Maybe I can find an IMAX in Beijing, because I do think that this deserves to be seen that way. But more importantly, stay safe. Like, safety first, movies second. But this is a really wonderful Christmas gift from the team there. I had a great time with it. My fiance, she loved it too. It's a great superhero movie. I guess we'll just leave it at that. So there you go. Spoiler free, right? Yeah, I think I kept it spoiler free. I always get nervous. I'm afraid I'm going to say something, but I think it's okay. Wonder Woman 1984, it is coming your way very, very soon, because most of you guys are in the States. I know I have listeners all over the world, but for those in the States, it's coming very soon. A little Christmas gift from the team there, but absolutely worth your time, especially if you love the first film, especially if you love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. It's really awesome, and hopefully you'll revisit multiple times, just like I will over the next month or so. So very good stuff. We're going to leave it there. We will definitely do an in-depth review of the film when the time comes, but that's where I'm at right now. Is it better than the first one? I don't think so. I think the first one maybe just has a little bit of an edge on this one. Do I think it is a really great follow-up companion to the first one? Yes, I do. I think it is a very natural extension of the first one. I've said it before, is it does what I want great sequels to do, is it gives me feelings and callbacks and what I loved about the first one, but it doesn't feel like a retread. It doesn't feel like, oh, this scene is the same as that scene or whatever. They don't do that. So it gives you something new and fresh as well. So I think that they really found a nice balance of doing that and telling a really different story with some interesting things to say as well, and using the 80s to, I think, really illustrate those themes, I thought was very clever too. So check out Wonder Woman 1984, however it is safe for you to do so over the next week or so. Have a great time with it. I hope you guys love it. And Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays from me to you. And I guess from the Wonder Woman 1984 family. But I'll wrap this thing up, and you will hear from me very, very soon. I got a little Christmas episode in the can that is waiting to come your way, so there you go, something to look forward to. But thank you as always for joining. Thanks for downloading the show. Please do subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. And as Michael Keaton's Batman says, I want you to tell all your friends about me. Visit holybatcast.com and find Holy BatCast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Any emails you've got for the Wayne Manor mailbox, you can send those to holybatcast@rf4rm.com. But that'll do it. I've been Andy. You will hear from me very soon. Have an awesome holiday season. Just about a week left till Christmas. So Merry Christmas, guys, and we'll see you soon. Same bat time, same bat channel.